everybody. There he is, David Dwork. He is ready to join us to talk a little hockey as the boys. David, I just want to check right now. Is this team fighting amongst each other? Are they fighting against the coach? Are some of the players threatening others to kick their ass? I just want to make sure they're nowhere near where our basketball team is right now mentally.
No, it's a harmonious situation
okay.
currently with the Panthers.
Okay.
They are all happy and giggling and excited. There is no inter-squad skirmishes happening on the ice with this team.
All right, but Gudis is ready to kick anyone's ass on the other side of the ice.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
You've got
all right.
several guys that are ready to drop the gloves on that side. But in terms of the lock, and you know what? Maybe that's why there's so much harmony on the Panther side, because, there's Gudis and Hornquist that are ready to slap anybody back into place that needs it.
That's it.
Right now, it's a good situation, man.
So the attitudes, there's a lockdown on the attitudes here in the lockdown segment for the Florida Panthers. They're focused, unlike our Miami Heat, that they're off the rails. By the way, the Miami Dolphins have been making all kinds of moves. I figured they wanted to copy the Florida Panthers because my brother, wow, the last week and a half here, the moves that they made. Holy moly, dude. And tonight, I know sadly we don't have Ekblad, but man, we get to see those pieces. And without Ekblad, thank the Lord we're adding 3 guys that can help out too.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how the Panthers were already having this, unparalleled season in terms of the franchise's history. They're at the top of the standings in their division. They're fighting for the conference. They're in conversation for the President's Trophy. And then they go out at the deadline and they bring in not one, but 3 valuable pieces, one of which was potentially the best option available in terms of forwards, as Claude Giroux, a future Hall of Famer, decided he wanted to come chase the Stanley Cup in South Florida. He wanted to be traded to the Panthers. And so now they've got Giroux. They get Ben Sherratt, who's going to be in the lineup tonight, a top defender who's played over 50 playoff games in the last 4 years. And they get Robert Haig as well, who is a solid shot blocker, a penalty killer. It's like the rich are getting richer, and the Panthers have gone from a cup contender to a cup favorite.
It's phenomenal. And by the way, I know the trading deadline passed, but it even passed with them they had a little space that they could have even tried to acquire something else. Man, I was wondering if they would acquire something else. How crazy is that?
They were in conversation too. Zilzito was talking about a couple of different players on deadline day. I know they were looking at a couple of defensemen. I know that they were in until the end on Andrew Kopp. But ultimately, look, they were already like a formidable squad before the deadline moves ever happened. Then they went out and they got Sherratt and Giroux and Haig. Even if they would have flipped another guy or two on the deadline, come on, no, this is like uncharted waters for this team right now. It's pretty remarkable.
So walk us through what we're going to see from Giroux and Sherratt in what do you expect them to do? What would their roles be?
Well, we'll start with Giroux, who, he's going to be skating on the top line on the right side with Sasha Barkov and Carter Verhaeghe. And this is a guy, an elite playmaker. You think of like the vision of Jonathan Huberdeau, some of the passes and playmaking ability of Jonathan Huberdeau. That's a good place to start in comparison with Claude Giroux. He's excellent in the face-off circle. He's a good 200-foot player. He's very responsible in his own end. And look, his numbers have been spectacular throughout his career, even this year when they're down. You take into account that he's playing on a Philadelphia team that's been pretty subpar. Now he's going to be surrounded by an immense amount of talent. I expect him to be a point-per-game player, if not better. And he's also going to be on that top power play as well, where he's excelled in his career on the left side half court. He's got a great one-timer, and just his hockey IQ is off the charts. So Claude Giroux is going to add just another dimension to this Panthers top forward unit, which was already maybe the best in the league, if not in the top 2 or 3. And then with Ben Sherratt, at least to start, he's going to be taking Aaron Ekblad's spot on the top defensive pairing with Mackenzie Weegar, which makes a lot of sense. Ben Sherratt's the left shooting defenseman. It allows Weegar to slide over to the right side, which is his natural position. He slides to the left when he's out there with Ekblad because the two make beautiful music together, and it's all good with that. But now he gets to play a little bit more natural position. His angles will be a little bit better with his stick. It'll be a little bit easier for him to move the puck around along the boards. So it's kind of a good trickle-down effect in terms of Ben Sherratt. But this is a guy who's big. He's tough as nails. He's another guy who's an excellent shot blocker, and he's physical in front of the net. I would expect to see, that element of his game kind of magnified a little bit. But he's a good puck mover. And look, watching the Panthers defensemen, whether you're on the Ekblad pairing or whether you're on the bottom pairing, You're expected to move the puck. You're expected to be quick transitionally. And I expect Ben Sherrod to be able to kind of fit right in with that mold, something that he was probably aching to do throughout the year with Montreal, a team that was very defensively challenged just by virtue of the personnel that that team has. And it's just been a rough year for them, keeping the puck out of their own end. So I think Sherrod's going to enjoy a little bit more freedom than he's going to have with the Panthers, a little bit more ability to move with the puck. And like you said, I'm just really anxious and curious to see how it all plays out. But more so than anything, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too, dude. I can't wait for tonight because I just want to see the new pieces. The only thing that sucks is they're playing a terrible team. So, you know, if it was a better matchup, it might be a sexier game. But boy, this is a game that the Panthers should be in complete control, man.
Well, with Montreal, as bad as they've been this year, since Martin St. Louis took over as their interim head coach, they've been playing a lot better. Still struggling a little bit on the defensive end, but definitely putting the puck in the net a lot more. But look, Montreal is a scary place to play hockey. The Bell Center is loud, it's crazy, and that combined with the fact that this is really the Panthers' first game since the Aaron Ekblad injury. It's their first game with these new exciting players. There should be no issue with them getting jacked up and ready to roll for this game. Even though it's Montreal and what the Panthers, like a lot of good teams, have a tendency to do, maybe take the lesser teams in the league a little lightly. Right. I would be shocked if that was the case tonight. Just be, all this hype surrounding the game, the new guys in the locker room, the excitement in that regard, and also they're aware that Ekblad is out, and they're going to want to make sure to show that look, while we can lose one of our best players, we're a good enough team that we're not going to skip a beat.
Should we look into anything with Knight starting again?
Look, I mean, Bruno said it that he's earned it. Sergei Bobrovsky practiced fully all week. I saw him. I watched him closely. He seemed completely normal. I asked Bruno after practice yesterday, is there any issues with Bob in this road trip? He said no. He should be, good to go. And I think this is more indicative of the fact that Spencer Knight started the last 4 games and he started them all very well. He got his first NHL shutout on the second night of a back-to-back in Anaheim. And I mean, look, this is a guy who's bounced between Charlotte and the NHL this year, not because of performance, but because they wanted to keep him moving. They wanted to get him, those valuable game experience under his belt. Now he's being rewarded. And look, I like it. I've been saying now for a while that I'm not sold on the goaltending situation at this moment heading to the playoffs. I'd like to see more consistency from Bob, or I'd like to see more Spencer Knight. Whoever's the more consistent goalie, that's who I want to see in the playoffs, because the inconsistency has been the biggest issue for me. And with this team that's kind of a powerhouse everywhere else, the goaltending's got to be the thing. So if they're really going to give Spencer Knight a good look, I am all for it, because I want the best foot forward in the playoffs. I don't want another 6-game series where you see 3 different goalies, which is a big part of the failure of last year.
Yeah, no, I remember about 2 months ago you tweeted out that you were like, there are times where I'm concerned with Bob, who allows a greasy goal every once in a while. And you want consistency, baby? The Bees are in the mid-90s. That mofo shut everything down, bro. That's if the Panthers had that, I would tell you could bet the house on them winning the cup, because with that team, that offense, and the Bees are back there, wow, dude, that would be amazing. But you're right. Maybe that's why they said we need to load up even more, because as good as our offense is, we need to improve our defense, just in case our goalie isn't as sharp that night.
Yeah, you can't expect to go into the playoffs winning games 5-3, outscoring teams the way they have, just because traditionally things tighten up in the playoffs. Now, again, traditionally isn't an exact science, and this Panthers team has been pretty remarkable this year. So they could very well go into the playoffs and say, bleep the norm. We're going to continue to score 5+ goals a game and do just that. Right. And, the goaltending won't be as big of an issue. I just want to be prepared on all fronts. And look, if Spencer Knight's the guy, regardless of the contract that Bob's got attached to his hip at this point, you go with the best foot. I mean, clearly, Orlando, they are all in this year. They've given up all of their draft capital for the next few seasons. They went out and got Claude Giroux, who is 100% a rental. There's no way they're going to be able to afford to keep him after the season. They're going all in. It's a position the Panthers have never, ever, ever been in their franchise history. Yeah, they went to the championship in 1996, but that wasn't expected. And they certainly didn't go out at the trade deadline and load up on talent. This is a first, and it's pretty cool to watch play out. Just from my perspective, if somebody, I've covered this team for over a decade. I've been following them since the inception. So it's just fun to be in this kind of a situation.
I'm with you there. By the way, what are you working on? Chirping the Cats podcast, Local 10, so folks can check you out following the Panthers, my brother.
Yeah, I actually just posted a new pod, Chirping the Cats pod, yesterday. I spoke to NHL insider David Pagnotta from the fourth period. This guy is so well plugged in around the league, and he gave some really excellent insight into the Panthers deadline additions, Giroux, Sherratt, and Hayes, how they're going to fit with the Panthers, what their futures could be with the Panthers. So it's a really good pod. Panther fans are into it. I suggest giving it a listen. And then on local10.com, I've always got my written info going up there. My Twitter is always active on Panthers coverage at David's Dwork. And really, we're just ramping up as the playoffs are getting ready to get here. It's a fun time, man. It's exciting.
There's no doubt. That is the lockdown segment. LennyLocksmith.com. You get locked out of your car, locked out of your home. LennyLocksmith.com. They serve all of South Florida, Central Florida, and heck, out in even Arizona. We got an office out in Phoenix. But anyway, 10 different offices all throughout South Florida, Orlando, and Tampa. So if you're watching, you need a key, you need a spare key, you got locked out of your home, your car, LennyLocksmith.com. David, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up next week. Should be fun tonight watching the Cats do their thing.
Yes, I will see you next week. I apologize for not being able to see me today. I got Winnie the Pooh over my shoulder here.
It's all good.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, brother. We'll talk in a week.
You got it, my brother. Be good. There you go. All right, David Dwork getting it done. Our lockdown segment.
This is the Big O Show.